And this is where the casks are going to sit for the rest of time. We're hoping that no one discovers these caverns, no humans or any life forms come into contact with them, because if they do, the radiation will kill them. But this is the best solution we can come up with. Go to the next slide. Now, I do want to mention the link between nuclear power and nuclear weapons. These industries and these processes are inextricably linked. This is a basic diagram that I found on the internet. If you want to make a uranium bomb or a plutonium bomb, you have to mine the uranium. You have to convert the uranium. You have to enrich the uranium. And if you enrich it just a little bit more than usual, if you spin the centrifuges just a little bit more, you can make a uranium bomb. And if you take the waste that's produced from a nuclear reactor and you reprocess it to pull that plutonium out of it, you can make a plutonium bomb. These industries don't exist without one another. And if you support one, you're supporting the other. If you oppose one, you're opposing the other. Because they exist based on the same processes and the same industries all around the world. So let's look at the total damage of the nuclear fuel chain. See if we can add up all the terrible things that were just described and try to get an overview of what this all looks like together. What you get in the end is radioactive waste that doesn't go away for millions of years and emits radiation for hundreds of thousands and millions of years into the future. And you can't stop a radioactive atom from emitting radiation. And it can never be truly returned to the Earth. You start with something like uranium that's kind of scattered in our soil, less than 1% if you pick up a rock. And then you concentrate that down. And then you concentrate it even further. And then you take those atoms and double the amount of radiation each time they're split. And you have this concentrated form of radioactive material that all we can think to do is put it in barrels and put it underground. The materials and structures themselves that are involved in every step of this process are now also radioactive. And we didn't even really touch on that. I just mostly talked about the fuel. Every glove, every building, every piece of concrete that came into contact with any of this material, every truck, is now contaminated with radiation and has to be disposed of properly. That's quite a task. We also have contaminated communities, air, water, land, people, that have been contaminated by each step of this process. And as I mentioned before, many of these processes happen on indigenous land. We have destroyed uninhabitable landscapes, destroyed forever. They're going to be radioactive for so long, for decades, no one can step on the land, no living things can live there. And we just destroyed them completely. We have a bunch of chemical waste. Lots of radioactive waste, but lots of chemical waste. All those chemical reactions and processes that we had to go through, all the solvents, all the acids, bases, peroxides, all of that is really toxic, heavy metals. And then we also mix that in with the radioactive waste, and you have something that's really scary. We have greenhouse gas emissions. This process is not carbon-free. Transportation in order to get material from one facility to the other is huge. A lot of times these practices and these facilities take place in different countries, different parts of the country, across seas. You might enrich something somewhere and then take it to a fabrication facility across the world and then ship it to the other side of the world to be put in a nuclear reactor. And all the while using fossil fuels and emitting harmful chemicals into the atmosphere while doing so. You produce material for nuclear weapons. Even if you don't go through that process to extract it out and make a nuclear bomb, you have now the material to make a nuclear bomb. And if someone wants to make the bomb with that material, well, I don't even want to give them that opportunity. And finally, you have risks for accidents with very serious consequences. A lot of our industries today in this industrial society we live in, there's a lot of risks involved in a lot of the things that we do. But when it comes to nuclear power and nuclear weapons, when something goes wrong, it goes very wrong. As we saw, as we've seen over and over again in the past. When a nuclear reactor melts down, the entire world is affected. People can't eat. They can't live in that area anymore. For decades, for centuries. So with all of this, I mean, think about all of these consequences are used just to boil water, to make electricity. And is it really worth it? No. Cool, so I'm going to turn it back over to Joanna. context in which we can continue to listen to her inspiring work and really work towards that nuclear-free world that we all know that we need and deserve and that we can achieve if we work together. So, thank you.